You're listening to the Champ Off-Road Podcast, presented by Amsoil.
This is the Champ Off-Road Podcast, presented by Amsoil. I am your host, flying solo today, Haley Shanley. Matt Skubik is hard at work up at Dirt City, getting ready for the weekend ahead. And I am chatting with Abrams, Wisconsin's stock truck wheelman, Don Demeny. Don, I know you've been busy. You're the guy they say wrote the book on preparation. Your engine has been out with the engine builder. Is the truck all ready to rip now?
Yeah, we have our spare engine in. We have put a fresh transmission in, and we beat the body out the best we can. It looks good. It looks good. I'm big about image, so if it passes my standards, I guess it'll be fine. But we aren't going to have the big engine in for Dirt City, but that's okay. It's a small track here. So I think we'll be okay. I'll let you know more Sunday night.
Now, Don, of course, you've been busy racing yourself, but as the president of the LENA Motorsports Club, where we're heading this weekend to Dirt City, how's it been on the track side of things?
It's been a fun ride. We have the championship off-road, Carl and his group up here, and they keep asking me, how many years have you guys been at this? And this is our first year. This will be our first big event with pros, and we are ready. I mean, we really put a lot of thought and effort into this. We have fiber optics for all the cameras buried in the ground thanks to Holter Construction. We have everything that we need. They are just totally impressed to walk into the facility and just hook up their stuff and go. Everything here that they need, that they usually have to bring and set up, they ain't doing that. They're just kind of hanging out and putting up banners. So it's kind of neat for them and neat for us, because that's our goal. I mean, we built this, by racers, set up so that whoever wants to come in, it's easy setup for them. We want to make this real simple. Come in, put on the event, and have a very professional event.
I've heard nothing but good things about the track and just everything about the venue, the people. So I'm looking forward to making my maiden visit there. But tell me more about the track itself. Tell me about the dirt. Other drivers have compared it to an old school motocross track. So tell me more about the dirt and the features and what fans can expect from the racing.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the track. So, as I said, it's a 7-man board, or a 7-person board. I'm going to get corrected on that one right away. That put the track together. Tom Shaw owns the property. He had a dream to build an oval track here, and that just didn't happen. His partner ended up passing away, so he just let the facility sit. And we came across and said, we need another off-road track here in the Midwest. Where can we do it? We raced in Anago and we raced in Oshkosh, and those facilities just weren't permanent sites. And we needed another one like Bark River, Crandon, and ERX. That's a permanent off-road facility. It costs too much to put the facility up and take it down and clean up. So we got together with Tom, and we said, okay. Tom's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's get this thing done. He has a long-term lease with the village to have a track here. So we said, okay, that was the easy part. Now, what do we do? How do we make our track cool? Crandon's got some cool stuff. Bark River's got some cool stuff. ERX has got some cool stuff. So we all sat down in a big group, probably 30 of us, and said, all right, what do we like the best at Crandon? What's the craziest thing there? That hairpin corner. Okay, well, we got to have one of them. So we wrote that down. And then we said, all right, what about ERX? What do we like at ERX? Oh, it's a split lane. We got to have a split lane. All right, well, let's put a split lane in. And Bark River, everybody loves that start-finish jump right above, right where the crowd is at. And, okay, we got to have one of them. So we had our wish list. And then we got a hold of Johnny Greaves and said, hey, we're building a track right down the road from your house. We have a wish list. Come and help us lay this thing out. And we got it all. And it's about a mile long, the track is. So it's about the same length as a short track when we run that at Crandon. And we have all the best of the best. So it's a driver's course. Johnny Greaves said it the other day on his interview. It's going to be a little smashing and banging because it's a little tighter. But we need that. We need a variety. Crandon's the long track. It's, you got time to breathe. You got time to think. At Dirt City, when you're taking a corner, you better be thinking about 2 corners ahead of what you're going to do, because it's a driver's track. Not a lot of time to visit with the spotters, unfortunately.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So, that was one thing we talked a lot about at ERX is that was, of course, also a driver's track, but you think the racing is going to be even tighter and more bumping and bagging than what we saw at ERX?
Yeah, it's the track's a little bit tighter than ERX's. ERX's track is, this was my first year actually on that track. And yeah, I had my hands full. I didn't get a lot of time. Charlie from ATD is my spotter, and usually, we can visit a little bit as I'm driving. Didn't do a lot of that at ERX, and I won't be doing a lot here at Dirt City because it's, you got to listen to what they're saying, and you don't have a lot of time to respond. You're shifting, braking, or jumping, one of the three.
Now, I know you've been super busy as the president of the LENA Motorsports Club. Have you had a chance to race yourself in the previous races that you've had at LENA?
Last year, we had a sportsman-only event, and I ran that one. Everybody thinks, all you board members, you guys get time to run that track. You must know it really good. No, these guys are on the track. They're working it. Every opportunity we have, we rent the track out a lot. So it's rented out during the day. And then at night, the guys are prepping it. So unfortunately, as board members, we don't get the time that we wish we could have on the track. A lot of the track guys know that track forward and backwards on a grader or on a cat, but they don't know it very good in a race vehicle.
Gotcha. As far as the testing you've done this year prior to ERX and maybe even since then, have you been able to test there or have you been going elsewhere for testing?
Yeah, we've tested a little bit at the track here. Like I said, any opportunity that we have to rent the track out, we have. Carlson's have rented it. Adrian Cheney's been out here renting. Johnny Greaves rents it quite often because it's close to his house. He can try some different setups that he needs to try. So yeah, anytime that we can get an opportunity, there's an opening, but it's kind of like a hotel booking. We have to book our own time in there too, and if we can rent it out, obviously the income's a little nicer than letting the board members take a cruise on it.
For sure. Now, let's rewind a little bit and talk about your history in off-road. You've been racing since, is it 1985?
1985. Well, you did your research. That's nice.
I did. Where and who got you involved in off-road racing? Obviously, I assume you're originally from Wisconsin, which is kind of a mecca for short course.
Yeah, I'm in Abrams, right north of Green Bay, right where 41 and 141 split. I tell you a long story short, it was a friend of mine, his brother, they said, we need to go up to Crandon and we need to race the Good Old Boys. And I said, where the heck is Crandon and what's Good Old Boys all about? And he's like, this is just the coolest thing. It's $50 a piece. We're going to buy a car. It's going to cost $100 to put it together and you can co-pilot. And I said, so I'm going to pay $50 and that's all I get to do is ride. And I'm like, all right, we can do that. There's 200 cars up there in the Good Old Boys way, way, way back then. They split them odds and evens. And yeah, the first year I rode, and that was the end of it. Never rode again. From there, I bought my own car, built cars, went into class 13. Farmer John is actually my father-in-law, so helped with his project when he was sponsored by Ford. Dennis Ferdon, right in Abrams, I co-piloted with him for a little while, and I went back to that. I can't ride anymore. You got to be driving. It's a little better to have control instead of hanging on and wondering what's going to happen. So. I've been in and out, when the kids were little, we just helped guys and did a lot of promotions. And then, my mom got real sick and passed away of cancer. And at that point I said, I just need to slow down, take care of my dad and just retire, it was just time. But, it's in your blood and you just can't get rid of it, and I, I don't hunt, I don't fish, I don't do anything. That's all we ever did was race. And my wife's family's done it forever, being Farmer John's daughter, that's all they did was farm and race. So yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's a different type of a lifestyle, but it's a great family. I mean, these guys on off-road, every single person is just absolutely amazing. At Dirt City, I had a steering part that went bad, an idler arm, and, I went around to a couple of guys, and they're like, no, we don't have one. But if I had one, I went over by Diesel. He races with me. We compete pretty hard back and forth. Our trucks are pretty equal. And he went in his trailer, grabbed a brand new one, and said, get that on for tomorrow so we can go racing. And that's what off-road is about. That's why we're so involved. That's why I think a lot of people stay involved is, when we take the helmets off Anybody needs anything, you help them out. You put the helmets on, you're putting the boxing gloves on. Till after that race is over, it's all out. It's blood on the track, but after the track, the guys will sit around and have a drink and share parts and share stories. And that's just, off-road is just a whole different character. It's great.
It certainly is. I love hearing stories like that, and you hear so many of them, and especially like with the sportsmen, especially like, you walk around the pits after the races and everyone's having dinner together, having a beer together. And that's the culture. And that's so awesome to hear. Over the years, you've seen a checkered flag or two. Is there a particular win or a particular race that stands out to you the most that you can tell me about?
I can tell the funniest story I'll tell you is, I was racing stock truck, and Scott Rain used to do the announcing, and he said, and it was a 2-seater at that time. It was a 90 Dodge pickup truck that I had, and Scott's like, I got an idea. We got a wireless mic. I'm going to ride with you, and I'm going to announce as we're going around the track.
No way.
I said, okay, and now this is fall Crandon, so you have the long straightaway, and you're all going to corner one. In a stock truck, probably 50 miles an hour, which isn't that fast compared to the pros that are doing 100 miles an hour. So Scott's gonna big boy there. He's gonna take his microphone with, and he's gonna announce as we're going around the track. We got to corner one. I think we're in third or fourth place. I looked over, seen something bouncing around on the floor. It's a microphone. He's hanging on, white knuckling with both hands, and I still see his eyes. About the size of silver dollars, and I still laugh about that all the time because he was going to announce, and I don't think he even got a chance to say a word edgewise in the microphone. I don't even think made it through the end of the race. I don't know what happened to that. Somewhere.
I can kind of relate to that. Last year at the Spring Crandon, I actually got a chance to ride in the 2-seater Pro Light with Chris Pavardi, and that poor guy, he was probably listening to me just like hoot and holler in his ear through the headset the whole time because it's like, it is adrenaline. It is, man, that's cool.
Yeah, turn one at Crandon is like no other, Kurt LeDuc used to do a driver's meeting for the rookies that would come. A lot of people come from California and all over, and he'd always tell them, you think you can come into turn one and not lift? Okay, try it. Because you think you're going to do it. You're going to go into that turn one wide open, but you're in there and you got 10 cars all the way around you. It takes a lot of years, a lot of experience to be able to just hold it all the way around the corner. And even in a light buggy, I mean, the speeds aren't there, but you're only about a foot off the ground and you're open wheel,
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Crandon, where it all began for you, was your home track for a very long time. Now, before the cancellation of Bark River due to COVID-19, was Crandon the venue you were looking forward to most this season, aside from Dirt City?
Well, and I hate to even say this, so I am the president of Dirt City, but by far the track that I love the best is Bark River.
Okay.
It has some mogul sections where you have to be able to think where you're going to hit, how you're going to hit those. It's a driver's track, and then you got a little time to breathe and check your gauges, on the straightaways. I love that track. I don't know what it is about it. I've always do well there. And it's something that you drive to work every day and you go into auto mode, I call it. You don't even know how you got there. You don't remember how many stop signs you stopped at because you do it every day. And Bark River to me is that type of track. I can get on that track and not even think about I got a corner coming or I got a jump coming. It's natural, and I just love that track. Mm-hmm. And nothing against DRX or Crandon. I love the people at Crandon. I love Dirt City. It's the best track in the world. But Bark River by far is just a natural track for me. It's you get in it and I'm not even you don't even have to think about it. I know what I got to do next.
Gotcha. No, that's a very fair assessment. There are all these tracks. They're so vastly different. But, I hear when people talk about what they like most about Bark River is just flows. It's fast. It's a track that can be easier on equipment, too. And that's it always puts on a show. That's for sure. Let me ask you about the Side-by-Side sports race that happened a couple weeks ago. How did that go?
Okay. So, we had a Side-by-Side sports race up here. Johnny Greaves runs that series. And it went really good. we had a heck of a crowd. The weather was perfect, and track conditions were perfect. And it's an opportunity for us to showcase what we have here. And I want to talk a little bit about that and the crew. We have a 7-person board, and you talk about pride. These guys, they really put a lot into this, and it's emotional because we built this from a farm field a year ago, and these guys are here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and everybody puts their heart and soul into this thing. And it's unreal how far you can get when you have a crew like we have. We have Stephanie Peitel, which is she's a Holter, married into the Peitel thing. Is our treasurer. She is our secretary. She does a phenomenal job. She races also. You have Jessica Shaden. She's our money lady. She's our treasurer. I mean, she watches every dime. Her husband races. Troy's out on the track all the time. Mark Peterson, race Pro 2. Bob Peterson, his kids are out there racing. Corey Marquardt, he owns a parts store right here on the facility. It's Corey's Crank and Nail. It's a bumper to bumper store. Don Holter is the vice president, and they own Holter Construction, him and Jeff. And without those guys, this track wouldn't be where it's at. I mean, there's no other track in the country that has fiber optics to every single. We have 5 camera locations, and there's fiber optics to every single one of them. We have 200 meg of internet. We have 1 gig of internet at the beginning of the track, and then we go wireless up to the top. So I mean, these guys, it's unreal how much passion is in this for this group, and that's just the 7 people that are on the board. Those are the guys that have to answer the questions. There's 50 people otherwise that are up here every day, cutting lawn, weed eating. I mean, if you haven't been to this facility, when you get here, you're going to look around and you're going to say the same thing Carl said. How many years you guys been at this? And this is year 1. We had a race here last year. That this is, the first big race we're going to have, and we're already outgrowing the location, but that's okay. We'll figure that out. That's not a big deal. But it's unreal what can happen when you get a group of drivers together that are so passionate about what they do. And everybody's building race trucks. I mean, we had 2 weeks between Park River or ERX and here, and we had to completely go through my truck, and everybody on the board had to, and we all have their vehicles here. We're race ready, and now we're running a little crazy, trying to get everything perfect. We want this. We want to showcase what we have here.
And it seems like the word passion is an understatement, because people like yourself, like you're a driver, you're working on the truck, you're managing this facility, and all the people involved, like they race, they have full-time jobs and commitments outside of this. So those got to be some long days, but days that you're not going to forget. I'm sure you're making some good memories out there. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, and it's it was way after close to midnight, pretty much this week, just trying to make sure we get everything ready, but. It's going to be phenomenal. Mm-hmm. This track we're going on. We're going to go on the record books for, we're going to put on a show like no tomorrow. And Carl and the new championship off road champ off road. These guys are phenomenal too. I mean, to come in here and give us the opportunity. We met with him when he bought the series or took the series over, and brought him up here in the middle of winter and said, hey, we have a track here. We'd like to be part of your thing, part of your organization. He's like, yeah, let me think about it, and let me come up and look at it and see what we think. And I think he was a little shied away a little bit, and he came out and he looked at it. And before he left, he said, hey, let's sit down and talk. Let's make this happen, because, we're 25 minutes from Green Bay. We're not that far from a large metropolitan area, and we're right off the highway. It's easy to get at, and I think today he's pretty happy he made that decision to make us part of his organization.
Now, at the facility, do you guys have other events, non-racing related, like 5Ks or anything else like that in the works outside of short course?
We are so busy trying to build this facility. No. Do we want to? Yes. We built this track for, we have a spot for a truck pulling track. Obviously, John brings in his UTVs. I've told Carl yesterday, I said, when this is all done and he runs the snowcross series, I said, I guarantee you're going to be calling me and want to do a snowcross here. We have our timing and scoring, and our announcer stand is heated, air conditioned. It's a very nice location, and we did that so we can do a winter event if we need to. And we'd be all for that. We built the facility to use. It's not going to be a one-time, once-a-year event. I mean, we want to use the facility and make it work. One other thing I want to add about it, the other thing that we did do is our hot pits are right in front of the crowd. So if somebody comes in with a flat tire, and I used to bug me when I watched the race, Johnny Greaves is winning the race and all of a sudden he's gone. Where is he? Oh, they went in the hot pits. At Dirt City, if someone comes in the hot pit, you're going to know it, and there's going to be kids screaming through the fence at you, hurry up, change the tire, because it happens right in front of the crowd. And we did that because we're in the entertainment business. We want to entertain the crowd, number one. And number two, the crew guys that work on these trucks all weekend and all winter and all summer long, if they get stuck back in a hot pit somewhere where they can't watch the race, that's not what we're about. We want to make sure that the crew gets to enjoy the race too. And unfortunately, at some of the tracks, the crew doesn't. They sit in the hot pits and they see you go by once, and that's not what we want to do. We want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to watch what's happening on the track.
That's so cool. Like, as a race fan, to be able to see, because I know it other tracks, especially the big ones, like even the announcers may not be able to tell if they don't have the race director in their ear to say, hey, so and so went to hot pits. So to be able to see that and have fans see what goes on, that's pretty wicked.
Yeah, it's a little nerve wracking for the crew. If it takes them a little too long to change a tire, and everybody's timing them, it's like, it took a minute and a half to change that tire. When at other tracks, if you're in the back, nobody knows, if the jack falls off or you didn't get the lug nut on quite right. Here, everybody's watching. They see exactly what happened. So a little more nerve-wracking for the crew, but well worth it because they get to see what's happening.
Awesome. Well, as far as, you're a new venue too in the Green Bay area. Of course, there's a big motorsports presence in Wisconsin, be it dirt tracks, snowmobiles, ice oval in the wintertime, and of course, short course. Are you expecting this event to bring in new faces to short course off-road as far as the fans go and add to the growth of the sport?
Oh, yeah, guarantee it. I take all the phone calls for Dirt City. As the president, I don't want to push that off on somebody else because you get a lot of phone calls. A lot of people that don't know what's off road all about and how we do it. And I've been getting phone calls the last week. It's our first time. We heard about this. How do we come up and camp? How do we get in? What do we do? So it's neat to talk to those people and hype them up a little bit. Tell your buddies, tell your friends. This is your opportunity. Bark River's great, Crandon's great, but people don't want to drive from Appleton or Green Bay, 3-4 hours and go up and watch a race. This is their opportunity to drive up a half hour, check it out, and guarantee they're going to get hooked. All of us have. Everybody that's here that's went in once, and everybody gets hooked. So I honestly think, by bringing in the UTVs and by bringing in, this local, close to Green Bay, we're going to see more drivers. We're going to see more guys buying trucks and building trucks and buying UTVs and building them because there's an opportunity for them to race local. And like I said, once we get them here, it's pretty easy to get them hooked.
Thanks for listening to the Champ Off-Road Podcast, presented by AMSOIL.